Welcome to our viewers on PBS in America and also around the globe. We are coming to you live from Mexico's capital city to take an in-depth look at this important, complicated country. As much of the world struggles with recession, we have found here a picture of surprising economic optimism. But we've also found alarming violence. 5 years ago, the government of Felipe Calderón launched a war against the drug cartels, and the results have been dramatic. Drug-related killings have soared, and now in this election year, security is Mexicans' prime concern. Our Mexico correspondent Will Grant has this story.
The Mexican army has been fighting drug gangs for 5 years. The Mexican people are paying the price. 50,000 have been killed in the government's war against the cartels. But many Mexicans are asking if the price is too high. In 2007, less than 3,000 were killed in drug-related violence. But watch this. Since President Calderón launched his assault on the gangs, the numbers have spiked dramatically. And the violence is spreading fast, from traditional trouble spots like Tijuana and Ciudad Juárez around the country.
La gente de Victoria no va a la frontera.
For Elena, not her real name, this tale is all too real. She was hounded out of Tamaulipas by the drug gangs. Her sin? Simply being a journalist who wrote an article a drug cartel didn't like. They threatened to kill her and her children. No wonder she doesn't want us to show her face.
Yo creo que el problema ahora es que todos estamos supeditados a lo que digan ellos.
Mexico is currently one of the most dangerous places in the world for journalists. But Elena's story is just one of many. Ordinary people caught up in the fighting through no fault of their own.
Bienvenido, I'm sorry I'm a little late.
So is it time for a new approach? I asked the man responsible for the country's security strategy whether the time had come to try to negotiate with the cartels.
What do you think this would mean for the families of the people who have lost their lives because of the action of these cartels? The only way in which the levels of violence will come down, the only way in which people will feel safe and free, in particular in those areas where the levels of violence have gone up, is when we make sure that every single criminal who commits a crime is being tried fairly in a court and is paying for his crimes. That's when the levels of violence will go down. That's when the levels of safety and freedom will be significantly enhanced.
This is an important election year in Mexico, with voters due to choose a new president in July. There are fears that the country's powerful drug organizations may try to influence the vote through intimidation and violence. But at the moment, security is still the #1 issue in voters' minds. Now the challenge ahead for the three main candidates is to persuade ordinary people that they can get the spiralling violence under control. Will Grant, BBC News, Mexico City.
Well, as Will just reported, it is the violence which dominates coverage of this country. But there's also a more positive story here. Mexico is currently the 14th largest economy in the world, but in a few decades, it's forecast to be the 5th. So is this the new brick? In the village of Pototitlan, the school band spends Saturdays rehearsing military tunes. Mexicans are famously proud of their country. In this region, the drug wars and violence are a world away. The only insecurity is economic. Nearly half the population lives in poverty. Today, much of Mexico looks like this, stuck in agriculture from a different age. But this isn't what the country wants for the next generation. The challenge now for Mexico is, can it pull itself up from this and leave behind the relative poverty of a developing country? It's on the verge. There's a surprising story of economic success here, and Mexico isn't quite what you might think. This is an economy on the move. Last year, Mexico grew faster than Brazil. By 2050, it's expected to oust France as the 5th largest economy in the world.
These parts are very complex, very precise, and we produce all that stuff here in Mexico.
Stefan Vitrak manufactures jet engines for the French aerospace giant Safran. It's as high-tech as industry anywhere in the developed world. Safran was lured here by cheap, educated labor and proximity to America, and has been pleasantly surprised.
It's more profitable, easier to work. We have very few turnover of the people. I mean, it's far better than what we were expecting.
Adriana Vargas's business isn't high-tech. She sells crafts for a living in one of Mexico City's poorer neighborhoods. And yet she also considers herself a product of improving times, part of Mexico's growing middle class.
10 years ago, we didn't have a fridge, a washing machine, or a heater. We had nothing. If we bought milk, we had to finish it the same day before it went bad. We washed our clothes by hand. But now, bit by bit, we bought all those appliances.
But Mexico's economic promise is hampered, most obviously by the government's war against the drug cartels.
We are paying a very high price for this totally needless war.
Jorge Castañeda is a former Mexican foreign minister.
Foreign investment has been discouraged by the war. Tourism has been discouraged by the war. Other forms of involvement, even remittances, because they say, why should I send remittances to my family in Michoacán if my family is either going to be slaughtered or held up?
Buenos días.
For the pupils of Quince de Mayo Primary School, a brighter future also demands a better education. Less than half of Mexican children finish secondary school.
Buenos días. Buenos días.
But things are slowly improving, and the children here have big ambitions. What do they want to be when they grow up?
Fotógrafa, chef, veterinaria, cantante.
And if they reach those dreams, Mexico will be better for it. The aspirations of children right around the world seem to be common. Well, despite the violence, today the Mexican government reported that last year more than 22 million foreigners visited this country. That's only slightly down from the record of 2008. And yet being tourism minister for Mexico right now is no easy task. Earlier today I spoke to the current holder of that position, Gloria Guevara. Do you, as a representative of the Mexican government, feel that the image that people have abroad, it just doesn't reflect what the country is? I mean, are you saying that this is an image problem rather than a reality?
I believe that there is a gap between our reality and the perception outside of Mexico. And we are working in trying to reduce that gap. Why do we have a gap? It's very simple. And I don't know, have you heard this? It's a couple of years ago, we left pretty much a gap of information. For a couple of years, we were not proactive communicating our reality. And what happened at the end of the day was that information was filled up with only bad news. There are a lot of things happening in Mexico, as you have seen during your stay here in our country, that a lot of the times you don't hear about those outside.
But Minister, you're not suggesting that the violence isn't real, are you? This is more than just an image problem.
No, I'm saying that we have a challenge, but the challenge is very isolated, it's very focalized, and the touristic destinations are fine.
Don't you sometimes think it would make your job an awful lot easier if the government were just to abandon the war against the drug cartels and the violence stopped?
Well, there is a situation in Mexico, and I believe that the government has a very clear strategy, is making progress on that, and at the end of the day you will see also that the crime rates has been declining for the last couple of years. Now, I have to say also that we have to do a better job communicating exactly what's going on in our country. The country is quite large. Let me give you one example. Sometimes they ask me, is it safe to go to Cancun when something happened in the border, I don't know, in a specific state, in the border close to the US? If I can tell you that the distance between that town and Cancun is equivalent to London and Moscow, for instance, people will say, you know what, this is a pretty large country. And sometimes they don't realize about that, and they think that it's just next door. It's not that easy. It takes days to get there by car, and by plane a couple of hours. So that's something that should be put in context as well. Now, do we have a challenge? Absolutely, we have a challenge, and we're working on that, and I believe the government is making progress. But at the same time, I can tell you that 22.7 million people cannot be wrong. That's a big number, don't you think?
Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mexico's Tourism Minister Gloria Guevara speaking to me earlier. We will have more of our coverage from Mexico in just a moment. That push to modernity isn't limited, of course, to China. Here in Mexico, one culture is having its own struggles. The Mayan calendar runs out at the end of this year, prompting prophecies of doom. In fact, the advanced Mayan civilization died out centuries ago. But their descendants do still live in parts of Central America and southern Mexico, and they are among the poorest people here. The BBC's Alistair Leithhead went to a small village in Chiapas for this report.
In the mountains of southern Mexico, Mayan traditions going back millennia still survive. They call him the curandero, or traditional healer, and he's treating an illness he says modern medicine can't help.
Doctors can't cure illnesses like fright. They don't even know how to diagnose that kind of thing. Even with specialized equipment, doctors cannot detect the sickness of the soul.
Amid the chanting and the incense burning is a new addition to the healer's armory, the touch of a more modern way of life. Mayans are some of the poorest people in the country, especially so here in Santiago El Pinar, living off the land and making what little money they can from coffee. So the pressure is on to modernize. This brand new suburb up on the hill is the Mexican government's answer to fighting poverty, a rural city. But few people live here. Andrea Montejo loved the house and was one of the first to move in. But after just a few weeks, she was disappointed. The house is coming apart, she says. She thinks it won't be long before it falls down.
It's cracking already, isn't it?
There's no running water, and they cook on wood fires. But the houses have wooden floors. She had to build a kitchen next door. And the brand new hospital on the hill might as well have come from another planet. Equipped to tackle infant mortality, the biggest health challenge here, but again, pretty much empty. The man who designed the new city said there were teething problems to sort out, but was confident people would move in.
As with any program, and especially this one, it is difficult. It's to do with the culture and the customs of the indigenous people. We're trying to find solutions that reduce poverty levels and bring the community closer to basic services.
And they do have very colourful customs. This is Saints' Day in Santiago El Pinar. Religion and dress from the Spanish, 5 centuries ago. The ritual from a lot further back. But there's no escaping the modern world. Alistair Leithhead, BBC News, Southern Mexico.
1 square mile of Chiapas, bringing our special coverage from here in Mexico to a close. This complicated, large country where we have found stories of alarming tales of drug violence, but we have also found remarkable and surprising economic progress and optimism. In this election year, as Mexicans go to choose their next president, one thing is sure: this is going to be a very interesting country to watch. From all of us here at BBC World News America in a rather grey and windy Mexico City, thanks so much for watching. I'm Katty Kay. Tomorrow I'll be back in Washington. I'll see you then.